So if you have great metrics in your ads manager, you got a 3% click-through rate, a $50 CPM, the ads are just absolutely ripping, but your prospects aren't converting, I can guarantee you it's due to this one thing, and that's messaging congruency. 9 times out of 10, where most people go wrong is they try to sell one thing in their ad and they sell a different thing in their landing page. For example, let's say I run an ad selling sourdough bread. If that ad pushes me to a funnel that sells Greek yogurt, I'm not going to buy. And that's what a lot of info sellers do. Now, they can get away with this when they're running organic-led content. I see it all the time because an organic buyer is not necessarily buying into the offer. They are buying into time around you. If they've consumed 100 hours of your content, 20 hours of your content, they're like, cool, I want to be around this guy. And so they'll buy. The problem is when you take the same funnels you're running on organic and you drag them over to paid ads, if you don't have the messaging down and you don't have congruency down, you're going to flop. I see this very, very common after managing over a dozen offers and media buying for even more than that, spending anywhere between $10,000 a month to a couple $100,000 a month. Biggest thing I always see is a lack of congruency. So what'll happen is someone will take an Instagram post that's very lifestyle focused and push them to a funnel that's ugly and has a Loom video VSL like this. It doesn't transfer. And messaging isn't just the words that you say, it's the branding, it's the image, it's the offer, it's the sales process. Is everything in between. If their experience does not align with the last touch point, they're going to drop off. You're going to see significant drop off. You can immediately see a lift in show rates if you just change messaging on the setting side. Recently, I've been inside of an offer that crushes. They do a couple $100,000 a month. B2C biz op offer. And the catch here is they sell to older individuals on average, older women, older males, people typically not in the best financial position looking to start a business, but they want a business with low risk. This isn't going to be the same as your day trading client. And so you have to speak to them different. Now, the problem with the way that they do this and the reason they deal with such high reschedule rates and cancellation rates is because in their setting process, they're using cheesy setting tactics like, yo, you get my message? Yo, did you get abducted by aliens? It's like this stupid shit that does not apply. Now, if you're speaking to some 18-year-old kid, that could fly. There's a place and time for everything. But if you are talking to a sophisticated individual and you can get them to book, so it means the front end was good, but now they're not showing, it means in between you did something wrong. There's a lack of congruency in the messaging or a lack of information like I talked about in my last video. Now, how do we solve this? Well, first off, it's important to map out the entire funnel. This is one of those things that most people just do not do, is map out the entire funnel. So you need to look at every single point in the process. From the ad to the funnel, to the show rate sequences and the setting process or the triage process, to the sales call, and then to the close. Throughout this entire process, is it one straight line? This is extremely important because if there is a disconnect at any point, you will see a massive drop off, right? You may see people just say, whoop, fuck you, I'm out. Or they get here and they're like, oh, fuck you, I'm out. Because what you are presenting is not what you are selling. The number one thing to do in this situation is, again, map it all out and go through it yourself or have a friend go through it, right? Before you go live and start feeding Facebook back that data. Again, does my ad line up with my funnel? Do my show rate sequences line up with my sales call? Does my setting process and my triage process line up with my closing call? And does my closing call solve the problem that they actually are dealing with so that they will close? If this is not congruent, you will not convert clients. You cannot rely on your personal brand to take you throughout this entire process. It doesn't fucking work. When you run paid ads, it needs to be the same thing. And here's the beautiful part. Let's say you launch and there's a disconnect in messaging that you didn't catch. The great thing is there are very clear indications of where that is happening. Are my submitted application rates low? Is my cost per call high? I can look at all these different metrics, like again, show rate, cost per call. I can look at these simple metrics and say, okay, we've got a disconnect here. We've got a disconnect here. Let's solve for it. This is one of those things that a lot of organic-led businesses just completely ignore or aren't aware of, to be honest with you, because they're doing a couple $100,000 off a personal brand. I love it. Great business model. You can run that fucker at like 90% margins. But when you're looking to scale into that multiple $100,000 per month mark, you have to go into paid, and you really have to understand the messaging congruency aspect of your marketing funnel. And like I said, just to kind of summarize this one more time, from ad to funnel, you need to make sure is good. From funnel to sales call, you need to make sure is good. From setter call to sales call, you need to make sure is good. And from sales call to close, you need to make sure is good or congruent. Again, if I have a setter that starts talking like some young hip dude, bro, could fuck the entire process. because there is a disconnect. If you're getting spoke to very professionally in the show up rate emails and a setter picks up the phone and sounds like a dumbass, kiss that lead goodbye. Doesn't fucking matter. So understand messaging congruency, and I guarantee you it's going to change the way that you approach your marketing materials, approach your marketing efforts, and scale your business. Start there, map it all out, visualize the process, and when you launch, look for those drop-off points. If you can find drop-off points in your funnel, you know typically where there's either A, a problem, just mechanically, or B, typically if you just launch, it's a messaging issue. So, like I said, map this out, run through everything, make sure it's congruent. That's what's going to get it to convert. What works on organic doesn't always work on paid for this very reason. If you want more content like this, you want to learn how to master paid ads or launch your organic business into paid ads, you have around a $15K test budget. There's going to be a couple resources down below you can check out, newsletter, you can book call my team, subscribe to the YouTube channel, whatever you want to do. I'm just here to provide you with as much information as you need to launch profitably. And if you want more help, just let me know. Either way, hope this video helps, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.